It was a beautiful day on the island of Sodor. On Sodor, there would be old timers on Sodor. Some of them were the oldest engines. One of them being Glenn, and the other one being Neil. Glenn and Neil were different to the other engines. Neil was a box tank engine. It came from the MMS Railway. Glenn was a coffee pot. He worked on Sodor too, and was the #1 engine, and the engine who ran the Branchline before Thomas ever arrived on Sodor. They were old timers, but they were never late. Meanwhile that day, Edward was covering for Thomas's branch line because Thomas had to bring James to the steamworks after his derailment. When Edward arrived at Nafford Station to pick up his passengers, he saw Glenn. He was getting ready for his train. "Hurry up now, passengers," said Glenn. Then Glenn noticed Edward. "Oh, hello there, Edward." "Hey Glenn, what you doing?" "Oh, just getting ready for my next passenger train." "What are you doing here?" "Well, it's a long story. But long story short, Thomas had to bring James to the steamworks because he had a nasty accident. So I had to take cover for Thomas for his branch line." "Oh, okay." Glenn, I still can't believe that you were actually the first #1 engine on Sodor before Thomas was ever here on the island. "I know. Since Thomas wasn't on the island and no one was #1, I guess they decided to give me the #1 because I was the first #1 engine to be on this island." "Say, you want to travel with me on the Branchline?" "Sure, why not, Edward?" And with that, Edward went out the station. And Glenn fell behind. The ride was pretty smooth. Eddie and Clarabelle enjoyed being pulled by Edward. After the two engines were done with the train, they decided to stay at Wolf's Wharf talking to each other about their adventures. And suddenly, the two engines heard a familiar whistle. "Wait, is that Thomas?" And it sure was, as Thomas slowly parked into the sheds. "Hello, look, Lynn." Glenn looked beside him and saw Thomas. "Oh, hello there, Thomas. Or should I say the second #1? You know, Thomas, even though I'm a pretty old engine, I still have some of your cheeky ways. So, how's that James guy doing? Pretty good. So Topham Hatt said when he comes out the steamworks he'll have a brand new coat of paint. Well, that's surprising, said Edward. What's the color gonna be? Well, I'm not going to spoil it all. Just saying, but you might have the same color as Glenn. Let's hurry this conversation up, Thomas. We got our next train in a few minutes. Alright, Edward. Where's Annie and Clarabelle at? They're in that other shed next to us. Alright. Thomas went up and coupled up to Annie and Clarabelle. I miss playing my old coaches. Well, nice meeting you again, Glenn. See y'all till later. Let's get a move on, shall we, Annie and Clarabelle?